What's up, guys? Today I'm going to show you my Surron LBX and how I set it up for deer hunting and do a few things to put it to the test. So let's go. Oh, almost made it. No, I dumped my cord. All right, so this is a Surron LBX. It's a 2023 model. It's got a 60-volt battery. This thing goes about 42 miles an hour just straight out of the box. So basically how this thing gets powered to the back wheel is it actually has a primary belt and a secondary chain that runs to a sprocket. So most of the noise you're going to be hearing is from that belt and from that chain and sprocket as far as the noise goes. And the range is about 60 miles, just to kind of depend on how fast you're riding it. The battery is actually replaceable, so you can take it in and out if you got another extra battery or something. Just kind of depends on what you're doing. You can buy an extra battery for it if you don't have like a place to charge it and things like that, but it takes about 3.5 hours to charge it. The cool thing about this bike that I really like is the suspension. It's got front and rear suspension. It's kind of like a high-end mountain bike type of e-bike. Kind of the downside to it is there's no pedals. So if you're riding this thing somewhere and you run out of battery, you're gonna have to like either push it or hopefully you're uphill so you can ride it downhill or something, because you're gonna be stuck somewhere unless you got something to charge it or an extra battery. Another thing about this bike, and one reason I chose it, is it's got a mid motor instead of a hub motor. So basically, when you're looking at these bikes, they have a hub motor or like a mid engine or mid motor, however you want to call it. And a lot of times the bikes that have these mid motors, they got a lot more torque and they got a lot more power. And the hub driven motors are a lot of cheaper. So all in all, this thing's really got a lot of good things just straight out of the box. The things to consider when you're looking for a bike like this, what I was getting it for is I wanted something that had plenty of torque to pull a trailer. And I've actually got a trailer for this that actually hooks onto the back that I got from a guy off Facebook. I got it for like 60 bucks and I bought a little hookup for the back from Amazon. And I really wanted something that could pull a trailer, could pull a deer on a trailer if I wanted to. And it's got plenty of torque to go up a hill and actually carry something behind it. So that with the suspension and the battery life and everything like this, like I love this thing. This thing's really been, I've rode this thing a lot. It hasn't even been deer season yet. All right, the biggest thing for most of you is gonna be your budget. I mean, these things ain't cheap. It's crazy how expensive some of these can get. And the price point that I got it at was about $4,800. And if you're looking at some of these popular hunting bikes out there, you know, they're probably gonna range anywhere from like, I don't know, $3,000 to like $8,000 or something, $6,000, somewhere around there, I'd imagine, just by some of the ones I've looked at. There's also other options out there that are really similar to this. They have a Teleria, which is a big competitor. I think the E-Ride Pro, I think there's a few others, but anyways, the Surron, one of the reasons why I chose this Surron is because it's been out for so long and there's so many parts you can actually get to upgrade this thing. So that's something to kind of think about too when you're looking to get one of these. You can go on Amazon and get you like an electric bike for like 1,200 bucks. But if you look at them, a lot of times they got the hub motor, they may not have suspension, and they're basically just a bicycle with an electric battery and a hub motor, and that's really a lot of times what you're looking at. So just be careful when you're out there looking for these to not get something that's gonna just break down in the next 6 months. You want something that's gonna last and something that's gonna actually have accessible parts to replace if you need to. And I've added a few things to this one just to make it a little bit better. The seat from the factory was terrible. It felt like I was riding on a 2x4 or something after a while, and the handlebars were pretty low. And you can see on this bike, I actually added a gun rack or a bow rack where I could fit my bow right in here and I can ride it basically pretty much just right up to the tree stand or wherever I'm going. So let's try it out, and I'm gonna actually do a few tests, and I'll kind of give you some examples. I'll ride it around and show you a little bit how fast it is. It's plenty fast enough, that's for sure, especially for deer hunting. Another thing I wanna do is I wanna actually pull it with some weight behind it. So I'm probably gonna put something in this trailer, approximately about 200 pounds, to kind of give you an idea of like if you was pulling a deer. And I'm actually gonna go up a hill, and then I'll hook a trailer up to it and drive this thing up the hill with a trailer with weight on it too, just kind of give you an idea of how this thing works. Because those were really the main things I was worried about. How much power it had, could it pull a bunch of weight if I wanted to go, you know, pull some seed or deer corn or whatever it was in the back of this trailer. And if I kill something, put the deer in the trailer. So those are kind of the main things I want to show you and test it out and give you an idea of how this thing works. So let's go out and try it and see how it does. So on the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to show you about how fast this thing is. I'm going to go on the golf cart trail first. I'm just going to drive right by the camera. On the second run, I'm going to go in this grassy area that's got these hills. I'll show you about how fast it is in this grass. So here we go. All right, so hopefully that gives you a pretty good idea about how fast it is. I couldn't go full speed just across these little hills right here, but you get the idea. This thing's fast enough. So on the next test, we're gonna do just kind of like going up a hill. And there's a few other hills I got around here that we can go up, but I'm gonna actually put some deer corn in my trailer, hook it up, and we'll go up the hill, and we'll probably end up going to another hill back here on the other side of the property. We'll go back there and see how it looks because it's a lot steeper. So let's try this out and see how it does. Now I'm gonna hook the trailer up, and then we'll put 200 pounds worth of deer corn in here. These are 40-pound bags, and there's 5 of them, so which will actually be a pretty good sized deer, you know, for most parts of the country, I would say. So take this lid off. Don't need that. There's 1 bag. 2 bags, 3 bags, 4 bags, 5 bags. So there's 200 pounds right there. It's quite a bit of weight. All right, here we go. 200 pounds up the hill. It's probably worse down the hill than it is up the hill, I would say, just because of all the weight that's pushing down on me here. All right, now that we tried that, which is a decent hill right there, I want to go to the back side of the property where there's a bigger hill, and we'll see how it does. I have a feeling it's going to be kind of rough on that one, so we'll see what happens. All right, it's getting kind of spooky. Oh, we're almost to the top. Oh, we're spinning out. Yep, ain't gonna make it, it's too soft over here. All this right here is a lot of shell, and it's just shifty as all get out. Almost made it though. I bet I could do it if I got a little more speed. If I can go without this thing flipping. See if I can get turned around. Try it again. Woo! All right, try it again. This is heavy. Almost. Oh, almost made it. No, I dumped my cord. We were so close though. Well, I guess it answers the question if it'll make it up a big hill. It's a little bit harder. I'm gonna hook the trailer. Goodness. All right. That was kind of spooky. Whew. 200 pounds for this thing is a lot of weight. It's pretty surprising how good it does to begin with. This hill, I'm sure, is a lot steeper than it looks from the camera, because it's pretty steep right here. I can ride the bike up it, no problem. But with all this weight, it's heavy. Woo! So So I'm gonna drive just up the trail, up this hill, and show you just how it handles. Because I spun out at the top right here. This is probably about the max that you'd want to put on this trailer, on this bike. But going up this trail ain't too terrible. Actually not too bad. See, it handles this one pretty easy. Going up the hill, up the trail. Now I'll tell you something though. The brakes on this bike is probably the worst thing about it. And you got all that weight pushing you when you're going downhill. It's pretty rough on the brakes. All right, so there you have it. I've pretty much showed you about how fast this thing will go. Plenty fast enough for the deer woods. I showed you how well it goes up a hill, or how bad it goes up a hill with a trailer with weight on it. And it's got about 200 pounds of deer corn in this thing. So that should give you a pretty good idea how it's gonna handle with a deer. And I'm telling you, this hill is steep right here. So just driving up this trail wasn't that bad, but going up this thing was rough. I hope this really helps out if somebody's looking for a bike like this, or if this may be too much of a bike for somebody, maybe so. So thanks for watching, guys. Hope to see you on the next one. See ya.